Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this video we are going to unbox the Sega Genesis Mini. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. If this is your first time to the channel, before we get started, I just want to take a second and thank you for stopping by and checking out what we have going here with the channel. It means a lot to me. Now, if you like what you see here, I invite you to check out some of the other videos that we have on the channel, including videos that cover the original Sega Genesis. Well, this is a model too, but you know what I mean. Sega Genesis, accessories, controllers, cables, all sorts of things that if you have an original Genesis, you may be interested in. If you really like what you see, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button. That way each and every time we do come out with new content, you're kept the most up to date. So this is technically the day before this guy comes out. This is September 18th. It comes out on 9/19. But I know the guys at GameStop, a lot of stores, they get a bad rap. The guys at my store here, they are awesome. Let's check out basically what we all went through to get our system tonight.
Why is it that like every single GameStop is next to a Panda Express? I don't get that.
This will be 8719 on there.
Box is smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah. It's nice though. You know which one you're playing first?
Horn Jam.
Or Horn Jam. I hope you enjoy it, man.
Thank you.
No problem. You have yourself a good day.
You too. So here it is, gang. It's official. We have our Genesis Mini. Check this out. I gotta go rush home. I gotta throw this on the bench. We need to unbox this. This thing, it looks great. They have done an amazing job on the box. I can't wait to try it out. Let's go.
So as you can see, super cool, guys. Again, why is every stinking GameStop like right next to a Panda Express if it's not in a mall? It's the weirdest thing. But I was able to get my hands on my Sega Genesis Mini tonight at 9 o'clock versus having to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow I got to pick up my Switch Lite. So, but what we are going to do in this video here is we are just going to go through and we are going to unbox it. We're going to take a look at how it comes out of the box. Again, hit that subscribe button. We will be doing a separate full-blown review of the system coming up. Now, one of the cool things that I really like about this system out of the box, no pun intended here, is the fact that Sega was serious about making a quality system. We're not even going to talk about this guy here. But it was originally announced that AtGames was going to be the manufacturer of the Sega Genesis Mini. Well, AtGames has a mixed at best history regarding clone and mini consoles such as this. The emulation isn't always very good. The sound is generally pretty terrible. Games compatibility isn't the best either. Sega took this very seriously and they pulled the Sega Genesis Mini from AtGames. That tells me they're serious about this being a good and solid system. It comes preloaded with 42 games, 2 of which were never available, from my understanding, on the Sega Genesis before. So again, we're going to hit the bench and see how this comes out of the box. Let's get started. So here it is in all of its 16-bit glory, the Sega Genesis Mini. Official Sega seal of quality, miniature Sega Genesis replica, ready to plug and play, includes 40 legendary games, plus 2 bonus titles. I'm kind of interested to see what those bonus titles are. Has the ESRB rating on it, Sonic logo, the 30th anniversary of the Genesis there. So here, looking on the side, you can see this package includes the Genesis Mini console. Well, yeah. 2 wired control pads, USB power adapter, so no separate power supply is needed, power cable, and your HDMI cable. And you can see from the picture on the side, this is the 3-button variety on the game pads. On the top of the box, you see Sonic, the Genesis logo, the Genesis itself too. Same thing on that side. Legalese on the bottom. Now, on the back, this is basically the make or break area basically for this system. You know, you have Echo and Castle of Illusion, 2 great games featured on the back. 40 classics shown here, and then 2 bonus titles, Darius and Tetris. So looking on the back here, I mean, we have so many great games to look at, some that I'm looking forward to trying out. Mega Man: The Wily Wars, this was a SegaNet exclusive game. I'm glad to see that that was included. Altered Beast is, of course, a classic. Castle of Illusion up above too. Ghouls and Ghosts. Not a big fan of Golden Axe. You know, Sonic 1 and 2 will be interesting to play just because they are good indicators of sound if you have that, I believe they call it a reverse duty cycle or not, if it plays the audio correctly. Down below, Wonder Boy here is a great game too. But of course, oh yeah, you see him. My groovy friend, the one and only Earthworm Jim. All right, I've teased you enough with the outside of the box. Let's dive in the box. Now on the top of the box, there's no tape, so that's nice. We'll try to open this as neatly as we can as to not damage anything. So interesting that there's no like sub trays or anything like that in here. Everything is just kind of loaded, for lack of a better term. So power adapter. These look like the two controllers. That's exactly what those are. We'll pull those out. We have our power cable. The other controller. Our instruction manual. A nice thick HDMI cable. And then this is it right here. This is our system. So I thought about being a jerk and coming to the system last, but you know what? No, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to actually pop the system out here because, quite frankly, I really want to see it myself. Oh, does that look great? That looks so good. Let's get it out of the plastic. Oh, and this is for you, John Riggs. Oh, so looking at it, the first thing I noticed this here, and it looks awfully purple. I thought the original was more of like a reddish orange. They may have changed that a little bit. The volume slider does go up and down, which is kind of neat. There is no actual headphone jack on here. On-off switch, reset button. It's just nice that they paid attention to that detail. It doesn't do anything, but it does go up and down. Your Genesis logo here, along with the high definition graphics up top. Here you can see the controller ports. They are USB style, and they are labeled controller 1, controller 2. It may not show up here. Here, I'll flash up an image real quick so you can see it. Looking at the rest of the system itself, we'll look at the back. We have our HDMI out, and unlike Nintendo, they actually put the HDMI right side up instead of upside down. It is a micro USB port on the back here for power. So looking on the underside here, you can see it actually has like the 4 slots where it would normally key into like the Sega CD Model 2 and the Model 1 for that matter. It has the expansion slot here, but this doesn't, that doesn't do anything. No, it doesn't come off. I'd say aesthetically, they've done a good job with the system. I'm just a little disappointed that that's a little bit off on the color. At least to me, it looks a little off. So the US version actually comes with a 3-button controller, as you can see here, and this is pretty legit. They've done a good job at replicating the look and feel, although it's not 100%. Again, they've taken a few liberties. Here, let me show you. In my left hand, this is the Genesis Mini controller. Here's my regular Genesis controller. As you can see, where this one has the orange on it, this one has white. I don't know if that's something that they did later on in the life of the Genesis, you know, vice versa. I mean, this could be newer design, this could be older, or the other way, but it's interesting that this one has, you know, white here and no paint on the ABC, and then white here, and then the Genesis Mini 3-button controller has the orangish red kind of paint trim there, and then the buttons themselves are also painted with that orangish reddish sort of paint. Feels like a Genesis controller, although it feels a little bit light. I will say that. This definitely feels heavier than this does. I don't know if that's gonna bother me or not, but the good news is if I don't like this, I have options such as the Retrobit 6-button arcade style controller designed specifically for the Genesis Mini. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you check out our unboxing right up in here where we took a look at this, but this is another option that we have with the Genesis Mini. Now, like I mentioned, it does come with An HDMI cable, looks to be about 3 to 4 feet, pretty typical of plug and play systems like this. It does have a micro USB power cable, very similar, looks like it's 4 or 5 feet. And then the power brick. Now this is something I'm always interested to check out and see where we're at for the current. There you can see output is 5 volts, 1 amp. So not especially powerful on this, but on these mini systems, they generally don't need a whole lot of power. Now, while the Genesis Mini is the latest one, now, oh, dude, check that out. The cartridge slot opens, that's right. So PlayAsia.com has a tower of power, they call it, where it's the Model 1 Sega CD and a 32X with a copy of Sonic that sticks right in there. This is freaking cool. I know it doesn't do anything, but just the fact that does that, it's like the volume rocker. It doesn't do anything, but it hits the right nostalgia spots. Now, I do want to compare this size-wise to some of the other systems that are out there. So here is the NES Classic Edition, and side by side you can see the NES Classic a little bit narrower, which is not uncommon because the actual one was. And obviously the NES Classic considerably taller too. We also have the SNES Classic. It is not the SNES, sorry, it is not the SNES, it is the SNES. And then again, height-wise, the SNES Classic a little bit longer than what the Genesis Classic is. Again, very proportionate to the regular full-scale models as they were. And the red-headed stepchild of the bunch, the PlayStation Classic. Actually very close in size. Maybe an inch shorter that way. Let's go bottom to bottom. Almost identical that way too, maybe an inch wider here, but that's cool that it's pretty similar in size. They nailed the aesthetic on this overall. Yes, the color's a little bit off, and the controller is a little bit different from what I have, but for the general consumer, I don't think they're gonna care. Looking in the manual, it's really bare bones. It tells you how to connect it, tells you where the controller ports are and everything, tells you where your HDMI port is, and let's see, console switch sliders and button. Slide the power switch left on and the power on indicator will light up showing the console has power. Headphone volume slider moves but does not affect the output volume. Reset button is used to reset the game. Slide the power switch to on to power up the console. Use the control pad to start up each game. To prevent console damage or data loss when you're finished playing, be sure to slide the power switch off before disconnecting the AC adapter. Please check the manual for each game for gameplay instructions, and there's a URL there. Hold start on the control pad during gameplay to access the system menu. There you can save, load, or return to the main menu. So it does have a way by just holding down the start button to get you back to the main menu. That's awesome. So here we have it all hooked up. We're just gonna go through the basic setup and everything. No real game, well, we might show you a little bit of gameplay, but with the stock controller plugged in, we are gonna go to English. Could that be it? That's it. Go through the menu. You can sort it by release date, alphabetical, genre, number of players, settings. Please read this before playing. In rare instances, okay, it's basically just the seizure warning and everything. Languages, or go back there. That went by way too quick. So languages takes us to where we just were at. Screen settings. We can do, you don't really have a name, it doesn't look like. So you can do original or full screen. We're going to leave it on 4:3. Although if you hit C, there it kind of adds that, or we'll add a CRT filter if you look in the upper right hand corner there, how it turns that on and off. I'm not a CRT fan. Wallpaper settings. So you can have it like that, or just black. I'll probably do just black to start. I'll tell you, the D-pad is really touchy going from one to the other. That's just the credits for the system. Legal notices, reset to factory. Let's go to the main menu. It does have a little bit of music in the menu, which seems to be, pretty pleasant and everything. It would have been nice if it was the Genesis does, you know what I mean? That would have been kind of cool. So we'll go to Sonic real quick. So it gives you a synopsis and then game start. I'm going to hold down the start button. So it took about 5 seconds of holding the start button to get me back to this. Looks like we have 4 different save slots I can load, or I can resume game. So we're going to resume the game. Again, D-pad feels kind of touchy. I mean, I am sitting right up next to my TV here, so it looks blurry to me just because of how close I am to the screen. The colors look pretty vibrant. It sounds like the coins are doing what, or the rings, I'm sorry Sega fans, the rings are doing what they need to do, where they go left, right, when you pick up one to the next. Second time there, I've noticed a little bit of audio drop out. We'll have to check that out in our full-blown review. And we did make it to the bonus world. We'll try out the bonus world real quick here. I am terrible at the bonus world, by the way. As I just proved there. So we're gonna tap the reset button. The reset button does the exact same thing as holding down the start button. So there you go, our unboxing. I'm going to turn this down for a moment, but our unboxing of the Sega Genesis Mini. Now, out of the 42 or so games, there are, I think I counted up 11 games that I put on there as like must play for me, and we'll go over that in the full-blown review, and 13 others that I definitely want to play. 9 that I might play, and 9 more it's like I'm not interested in it. It does have more games than either the SNES or the NES Classic Edition, and it comes in at about the same price at $80 as both the well, no, actually I guess the NES Classic was only $60 and it was $80 for the Super NES Classic, so a little bit more than the NES and about the same price as the Super NES. Now, if you do have any comments or questions, things you want me to hit during the review, do me a favor, leave your comment down below in the comment section. You can also send me any requests that you might have at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at rocksolidstudios, on Facebook at facebook.com/rocksolidproductions, and then on Instagram at instagram.com/rocksolidproductionsgk. If you want, you can also go ahead and help support the channel too, and there's a couple different ways you can do so. First of all, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you get early access to all of our videos, exclusive content, one-on-ones with me, and a whole lot more. You can also go ahead, if you are looking for a Genesis Mini, we will have a link to our Amazon affiliate store, where if you order it through there, there's no discounts or anything like that. It doesn't charge you anything more, but it does help support the channel too. And you can also rock some Rock Solid Productions swag over on our Teespring store on screen right now. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, and a whole lot more. If you want to show your rock solid pride, you can do so right over there. Now, I did show you earlier the Retrobit 6-button arcade controller, which we have shown in an unboxing here on the channel. If you're looking to pick one of those up, or any other retro type of items, make sure you head on over to castlemaniagames.com. One of the cool things about castlemaniagames.com is Castle Cash. Basically, the more you spend, the more you earn towards future purchases. It's kind of a rewards program, very similar to like what Best Buy does with their reward zone. The best thing about it too is if you use promo code ROCKSOLID10, you get to save 10% off of most items on the website. Now, one of the cool things too from castlemaniagames.com is they did send us a very nice cable to test out in our review, and I'm of course talking about the M Cable Gaming Edition. We will be featuring this in our review of the Sega Genesis Mini. I'm really interested to see what this does with one of these systems. Thanks to Ryan from Castlemania Games for setting you guys up with that promo code, and for sending us that M cable for review and to feature here on the channel. Now, like I mentioned also at the top of this video, if you like what you see here, if you want to see more, if you want to be notified when we do post the final review of the Sega Genesis Mini, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. That way when we do upload new content, you're kept the most up to date and informed, and that way you know when that review goes live. And it's something that really helps the channel, along with hitting that like button. That way too, it lets YouTube know, hey, this guy does stuff that we like. Keep promoting him, help his channel grow. And if you don't like it, you know what? Give it a thumbs down. Let me know what you didn't like. If you don't like it, at least let me know what you didn't like. I'd kind of like to know what you guys want to see to make the channel better. I'm really excited to test this out. I'm tired. It's late at night. It's almost midnight now. But at least what I'm seeing so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. They've taken some artistic liberties with some of the colors, not identical to the original, but it's not one of those things where it's garishly bad. It's not something that's going to deter me from enjoying the system. There's a lot of games on here we're going to test. Make sure, again, you subscribe. That way you are kept informed when we do post our full-blown review. I am Gary. This has been Rocksolid Productions and our unboxing of the Sega Genesis Mini. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon.